What's up, guys? Ben here, bringing you another video today. We have predictions on tap in this video for week 3 of the Major 5 qualifiers. We finally made it to the end of the online Call of Duty season. I would say overall, this wasn't, as far as online like Call of Duty years ago, we haven't had a lot of like server incidents, all this other stuff. So it's been pretty clean, but it's still online Call of Duty. We still have Sound EQ this year. It's still been a little bit of a ride, but a lot on tap this weekend with teams trying to qualify for winners bracket, teams trying to lock in the champ spot. You've got like 3 or 4 teams trying to get in the best position going into the final event of the season where they need to place best. So let's dive in, talk about some of those teams and make our predictions for this weekend's matches starting on Friday. All right, so last week, I think we actually did a pretty good job with the predictions. You see here, we only got 1 wrong per day, which is very, very good. So let's see if we can keep it going for week 3. We're going to start off with London versus Florida. Florida's still kind of in, I guess, the champs conversation. I don't think they've been eliminated technically, but the key thing for Florida is they're 2-1 going into this match. They win one of these remaining 2 matches, they will make winners bracket and actually get probably a decent seed there. So I assume the community is pretty high on Florida in this one. I am as well, because London's kind of chalked as a team. I got Florida 3-0. I just don't feel good about London really winning any maps this weekend. I guess I could see Florida having a stinker. They are prone to that, but they should beat London on paper and should qualify themselves into winners bracket. All right, the next matchup we have is Minnesota ROKKR versus the LA Thieves. And I know that Thieves are 0-3 in the split. ROKKR are 1-2. So this is a big match for both teams. I think if ROKKR lose this one and they still beat Toronto, they can probably make it. Thieves need to win this one in order to make winners bracket. I think they'll do it. I think enough time has now passed. I think they'll sort of whatever issues have been causing, like a lack of really quality performance the last 2 weeks. I think the Florida loss was really bad last week. I see them taking 3-1. I'll say ROKKR is still like an S&D or something, but I can also see this being a 3-0. And then ROKKR will be in big trouble at this point with the Toronto match coming up on Sunday. All right, we got New York versus Seattle coming up here. I don't know how to call this one, because historically, if we look, these teams have played 4 times this season, and Seattle has won 3 of the 4 matchups pretty handily. The only one that New York won was the champs final at Major 1. So that's a little bit kind of difficult to process. New York has played probably better than Seattle has so far in this split. They did lose to Vegas, but they beat Thieves in a game 5, and they smoked LAG. Whereas Seattle, up until Sunday, looked like they were kind of in a difficult position, not playing particularly well. They had a 3-0 smoke show where they got fried by Optic, they got fried by Toronto, and they kind of beat Toronto Boston 3-1. So I don't really know what to think about this one. I'm thinking New York wins just because this goes to a game 5. I trust New York more than I do Seattle, but I feel like this is very coin flippy, and I could see a team winning 3 respawns. So I'm gonna go New York 3-2, but I think this one of the 3 on Friday is just a massive toss-up. All right, let's move on over to Saturday. We got Seattle playing again, last and first matchup here against Vegas. Vegas is 2-2. They win this, they're 100% in winners. Seattle, obviously, if they lose on Friday, need to win on Saturday and hope for some help. Historically, it looks like it's been a pretty good ride for both teams, actually. Vegas has won twice in game 5s, and Seattle have won twice not in game 5s. So there's a good mix there. I feel like Vegas is playing a little bit better, and I trust their search more than I do Seattle. So I'm going to go ahead and take Vegas last map against Seattle. Again, another kind of heartbreaker for Seattle. I'm just not a big fan of Seattle's S&D game. And, you know, Vegas is a pretty good S&D team. And then New York's like an eye S&D team. They just kind of troll, but it seems like they're playing search better. So that's kind of why I'm picking the back-to-back game 5 heartbreakers. But I could also, once again, see this game swinging the other way. I think the 50-50 fan prediction feels the same. This could be one where, you know, Vegas is prone to not showing up sometimes. So assuming both teams come with their A team, I think Vegas got it done. All right, next up we have Optic versus Florida. And Florida's been playing pretty good as of late. And if sometimes in the past been a boogie team for Optic, I don't think that's going to be the case here. I'll give Florida like 1 map because they've been playing pretty good as of late, but I think Optic will win comfortably in this one and move to 5-0 online in the split and get the top seed. I just don't really think Florida can really match up with them deeper in the series, but I like where Florida's at. If they go 1-1 this week and get into winners, that's a good job out of them. Next up, we have Toronto versus LAG. And I'm going to go ahead and use my double points on this one. I got Toronto with the 3-0. They look really good right now. I know that LAG haven't looked 100% the worst team in the league right now, but just like London, unfortunately, that victory was against the team I just named. Outside of that, they got smoked by FaZe. Had kind of a funky series against Florida that went to almost game 5, and then they got fried by New York. So I think there's going to be another 3-0 on the cards for LAG to finish out the split 1-4. I think Toronto's just in too good of a form right now. All right, and then finally we have Boston versus FaZe. This one's an interesting one. We haven't seen this really at all this season. They played twice. Boston beat them first match of the year online with Zen, and then they played in February, and FaZe took that game 5. So pretty interesting again that they haven't really played that much this season, and the only time, I mean, outside the first game of the season was at Major 2. On paper, I would say for FaZe that they should probably win this, but they are kind of prone sometimes to trying out maps in a series like this. They're 3-1 right now, so they're making winners. Like, I know they want the 10 points to try and keep locking down first seed for champs, but I would say more is on the line for Boston in case somehow that like 1% chance they don't make winners is because they lose both this and the New York series. I'm going to say FaZe take it. I want to say a game 5. Let's do that. I'm going to give Boston some credit, and they're going to battle on this one, but FaZe will take a game 5. I can see it being a 3-1. I feel good about FaZe's chances in this series, but they may try some stuff, and we'll see. Or Boston may also kind of play as well as they do, and they can really match FaZe with a slaying power on maps like a Fortress Hardpoint or, forgetting like a Hotel Control. We know that Boston can slay on those maps. We know the teamwork's a little bit iffy sometimes, but we'll have a fun series to close out things on Saturday night, I'm predicting. All right, let's keep it moving with the predictions for Sunday. 3 matches, our last 3 online matches of the season. Starting off with Toronto Ultra versus Minnesota ROKKR. My New York accent was going through there. A lot of the predictions are on Toronto. And honestly, weirdly enough, the battle for the North has only happened twice so far this season. It was in December. Minnesota ROKKR won one of the matches online. And then Toronto won, I believe, at LAN. The 3-1 versus Minnesota was at Major 1, I believe. So we haven't seen the matchup since. And that's interesting because we saw it a lot in previous years. And if ROKKR lose to Thieves, they have to win this match. And we got to keep in mind, too, this is a Minnesota ROKKR team that has Dylan coming in for Afro, and I don't really know what it means for their performance. That being said, I just feel like Toronto is too good online, and I think ROKKR is going to lose a heartbreaker. I'm going to say game 5, and Toronto will clutch up, but I can also see this kind of... I don't really feel like I can predict ROKKR in this series. It's just a question of how many maps they're going to take Toronto. I'm going to say they're going to fight hard because they're going to try and really lock in this winners bracket, and they're going to come up short. And it'll be a quality series to begin the day. What won't be a quality series is LA Thieves versus London. And I got to be honest about this one. Like I said, for London, man, I don't see you guys taking a map in this series. I probably should have used my double pick on this matchup instead of the Toronto versus LAG one, but it's all good. This is a fast series. Thieves get it done, make it into a winner's bracket with this quality week 3. They may just sneak in, though, and they might be playing like Optic Texas first round, which would be very spicy in Major 5. And then finally, we got New York versus Boston. We've only seen this matchup twice so far this season. There's a running theme with Boston. There's a number of teams they've only played a couple of times. First off, online, we had a game 5 against these teams that New York clutched up. And then New York beat them recently as of last month, almost a month ago, pretty handily Boston when they were kind of slipping. I don't know how to really call this series because on paper, these teams' map pools are pretty even. And I would think that most of the time if they score it up, it should go to game 5 because you're going to see a lot of Hotel Hardpoint, a lot of Hotel everything. And Boston will probably have to play them on like either Embassy or Hydro Hardpoint. I like New York's chances in this matchup. I'm going to say a game 5. And I'm going to say the New York clutch up. I know what you're saying, Ben. You picked New York to clutch up in 2 game 5s this week. Are you a psychopath? Are you crazy? I might be, honestly. I might be for that. They're going to lose one of those series. It might be this one. I might be wrong. And I'm trying to talk myself into whether or not I'm going to predict Boston. You know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. We're going to predict Boston this series. I'm going to look like a moron if it flips the other way, but screw it. I got Boston getting into game 5 and New York coming up a little bit short, but it should be a fun one. Sunday, I will say this. I don't think there are a lot of duds. There's a couple that kind of are. I would say there's like 4 series. The rest, especially if ROKKR actually show up against Thieves, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matches that I actually think are pretty good and like decent teams playing decent teams. So excited for that because last week was a little bit of a snooze at times. So I'm excited to tune in starting 3 p.m. East Coast time on Friday. All right, last online predictions video of the year. Let me know what you guys think. Next couple of videos that I have planned. So we're going to do a Q&A video on Friday, and then this weekend we're going to start rolling out some off-season preview videos. The 2 teams already eliminated, LAG and London. And then next week we're going to do sort of some major prediction videos, kind of get ready for that, and then I'm gonna start rolling out my champs prediction videos after that. So I've got like a whole content calendar scheduled out. I think we're going to be almost pushing 5 to 6 videos a week if it kind of works out the way I think it's going to work out. So a lot of content coming up for y'all. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of that. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys on the next video.